Hi Cancer, and welcome to your August, early September reading. I haven't done reading for you in a while because Cancers were just not clicking. I'll give you as a way of comparison, the very first sign has close to 20,000 clicks and you have only 800, right? So whether or not Cancers didn't find this channel, or you're not speaking up, or you're like processing those emotions internally, I need you to be more vocal. Just so please click, please do stuff, because I am doing these readings in order how they like with amount of clicks. So the more you click, the higher up you will go. And yeah, it is possible to jump up. I mean, Aquarius and I think Scorpio, they're like way down at one point. I said, like, I mean, guys, I cracked the whip, like the same thing. You need to click, you need to share, you know, and this is really important. And all of a sudden, I think Aquarius was the second and Scorpio was like in a top 6 for sure, right? So, anywho, guys, this is a general reading. In addition to your own sign, you need to check also your ascendant and your moon sign in order to get a better perspective. And also, if you really want your reading and sort of like a la carte fit it, like, please check me at cattarot.ca and get your reading. So let's start. What is in the store for my Cancers? What is in the store for my Cancer? This is one of your favorite months, right? So let's see what we can see here for you. So you have 4 of Pentacles. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit for you. Well, it is a little bit different rendition in this particular deck of 4 of Pentacles. Is this working? It's already on the maximum, so I cannot do any better than it is. So anyway, I'm going to hold over here. So 4 of Pentacles is sort of like holding on to something, right? What I really like, look how well he's dressed, and yet he has white gloves, yet he kind of like is holding his pentacle, his coin, right? So that holding over here that this card kind of like emphasize is you're holding on people, your Cancer, possessions, situations, or past issues, right? This also can be an indication that sort of like there are like deep-seated issues and that is like affecting you and something you need to process and let go of, right? You might also try very hard to kind of like cling on something or some possession because this is representing your sense of security. And you have to understand that you might be holding on to something that is unhealthy or possessive or even controlling or toxic, right? And or somebody might be holding you in kind of like in that kind of like fashion, right? You need to establish boundaries because this also card is about walls, right? You need to kind of like respect the boundaries of other people. See, the 4 of Pentacles can also indicate kind of like lack of openness. You really want to do something, you want to reach out, but you kind of like want them to do that to you, but you're like, no, I'm not sharing, I'm too sensitive, I'm crushed if this is kind of like done. But you're not realizing that just because of doing that, you're kind of blocking or obstructing progress. And maybe you're kind of like giving yourself some kind of sense of isolation. It's a nice isolation, as we can see from this card. You're kind of enjoying things for yourself, by yourself. This card also can indicate that maybe you're being seen by the others sort of like as wealthy, but also greedy and materialistic and sort of like penny pinching. Not that you would have a problem with it if this is you, but that's kind of like sometimes when you hold on to something, we are not expanding. So keep that in mind. So when it comes to love, and this is really talking about, and sorry, there is my protector. Somebody is going to be announcing. Hey! Okay, so this about love, it's again talking about this possessiveness. Tiger, please have a seat. Have a seat, please. Be okay. So this kind of like indicates to me that possessiveness, really, like everything happens for a reason, guys. Don't, if you're like in your head freaking, oh, the dog and the cat and this, no, you have to understand that I really don't need cards. Cards are helping me to give you that storyline. It helps kind of like lay it down better, because I do see the images already, right? So keep in mind that this card also, when it comes to relationship, is really not a great card to get, right? It can indicate that the jealousy or controlling, somebody really wants to bark things out, and like you're supposed to kind of like take it, right? It can be also indication that one of you is holding on to kind of like past wrongs, or there's like some kind of grudge. It could be possibly deep-seated issues in a relationship, right? Possibly you feel wronged, in some way, or you need to make a decision to either forgive or let go. Kind of like, look, either, I'm going to forgive, pack it, never going to take it out, or we're kind of like done, right? Because holding on to grudges is toxic, and kind of like breeds this resentment. And when you breed resentment, you get this dude over here, right? If you're single, maybe you are holding yourself back from meeting somebody. I really feel that you actually do have an admirer, and there's like somebody who is possibly considerably younger than you, and you maybe are thinking that your energy levels are not there, or you're looking at societal way of looking at things, right? So you have to stop fearing change. And you're fearing change because before, when you changed and you changed for somebody, you were jumping through the loops and hoops, they let you down, right? So whatever the cause over here is, like for this kind of like hold up, you need to resolve these issues before you actually embrace new relationship. And I guess some of you know this. This is a pentacle, so hence this card really talks about money, right? And usually this indicates it's a stability in your career, right? So maybe like you kind of like said, well, never mind anything else, I'm focusing on work and focusing what I'm doing. So you're not fearing of losing the position that you have in your life, and you're maybe careful about, not stepping on other people's toes, but also you have to be careful not to isolate yourself, because you have to have that flow of energy even in the workplace, right? If you have clients, you kind of like have a really interesting, I think, relationship over there, right? Maybe you're very possessive of them. If somebody just says something that they would like try something, like whatever is your business, you might start to feel a little bit kind of like agitated. So keep in mind that or if you're working in a company, you might feel that somebody else is going to take credit for something that you have been really working for a long time, and now it's finally manifesting, right? So this also can represent that somebody is maybe withholding something from you, such as like maybe employers holding a promotion or pay rise back, right? If you have your own business, maybe it can talk about attaining success through really hard work and honest hard work and building on it, right? So clearly this is a 4, this is pentacle. It indicates financial security and stability. It's almost like freaking bank. Like whenever I say this card, I'm thinking banker, cha-ching, 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 right? And also holding on to your wealth. That's why it kind of reminds me of that way, right? So you might be actually willing to have a big purchase, such a house or car, but you are also maybe possibly creating a big savings account, such as like, putting money away for your retirement. So again, this can actually indicate that you're processing other people through the prism of, hey, you know what, I don't know if we can make it work. Like, especially if you meet a person who is, let's say, not on your financial level, you are still thinking on some level, hey, are they going to be drained? Am I going to kind of like waste all this kind of hard working things that I had in my past? So keep that in mind, like when it comes to that. So this also can reflect, I guess, in ill health, because if you're accumulating negativity and you're holding on to old negative patterns, just think about a glass of water that you leave overnight, and even though maybe it was nice and clear and sparkly when you left it, the next morning is not going to be something you're really going to grab and drink. It might be drinkable, but the best is kind of like to stay away from it, right? So it has to be clean, just like very much like over here as well. Also energy healing. I mean, I have some, check my website, cattarot.ca, is helping release these energies. You cannot accept love if this glass is full and it's muddy. It has to be clean, it has to be sterilized. You have to get proper energy, and energy is kind of like hitting all the spots, and all of a sudden you're kind of like releasing an emotional or psychological baggage. So hence, you know, as I said, some alternative or kind of like standard kind of practice, like such as psychologists as well, can also help to release these issues, right? Also, because it's holding, it can talk about, you know, constipation or water retention about that. So I really think what basically we are seeing here is you need to go on certain spiritual path, and you kind of like figure out how things work for you, and in doing that, you prevent yourself from, let's say, being hurt, right? And I think that's what prevented you of clicking on Cattarot channel. By the way, please like and click right now. So if you feel there is something holding you back, just really look deep and just face it, your own truth, right? Are you, you know, a little bit negative, and are you maybe closing your heart off to others, or focusing too much on materialistic kind of like pursuits? You really need to figure out, why are you doing that? Do you think there is not enough? Do you fear that somebody's going to let you down? So meditation and energy work really is going to help you process. And if you process this, you're going to be way, way, way happier. So just keep that in mind, my dear Cancer. Wow, we are having a Six of Cups. I'm not surprised that you are getting this. Lots of people got it because even though Mercury went kind of like forward on August 1st, there's still a shadow for 2 weeks. So until the 15th, we still have memories. I have a feeling that recently you had a contact of some sort with somebody from your past. Something that just didn't happen. Something that was supposed to happen. Something it was supposed to be something really big, really strong, and really encouraging, but it didn't happen. Instead, you know, there are memories, but memories are no longer bad memories. At this stage, these are sweet memories. Maybe there is somebody, or maybe you're thinking about a first love. Maybe you're thinking about holding hands. Maybe you're thinking about, oh my goodness, my first husband, my first wife, my first girlfriend, my first boyfriend. You're thinking about the innocence that kind of like was present in those times, and everything that was represented in such way, right? Because this is, to me, I mean, always the card of good times. Usually we look back into our past, and we kind of the days that we were kind of like children and forming our first kind of connections were so innocent, right? So maybe there is also some kind of like feeling of protection, because as children we kind of like feel our parents are creating those boundaries, and we have somewhere to go to kind of like have this beauty and protection. So this is crossed with, whoa, with another six, and this is a Six of Wands. So here we have Lady Godiva. Over here we have a winner, and we have here a clear sacrifice that has been done for someone. Well, Six of Wands here in your case has been is reversed, and generally even reversed, this also has a really good connotation, right? This really tells me like there are two sixes. There is like a soulmate feeling I'm already feeling over here, and it's telling me you are right to be happy. You know, this is about good news, this is about victory, but this is also about sacrifice. This is also about doing something for the other people, right? And it could be something that maybe, as you can see, appeared to be embarrassing or gutsy or some kind of like a stuff. Maybe, you know, you're still thinking in terms me, because this can also talk about sometimes neglecting people. And when you neglect people, maybe you have these like sweet memories, but you didn't get in touch, you didn't stay in touch, you didn't really say what you want to say. Maybe somebody reaches out to you and you're really glad and fond that it happened. It kind of like gives you this warmth, but you do not reciprocate because you're fearful of what could happen. You're fearful of that holdout. And let's take this dude out over here. So let's see your ground energy. Wow, this is really good. Ace of Pentacles is one of my not one of my, it is my favorite ace. Let's put it this way. It is my favorite ace because this one is saying, okay, this is long term. Where are we going? What do we really want to do with this, right? It is when we really know that there is like something that can be built. And I really think this is really talking about that. Given that you have these pentacles, you do want something long term. Don't fool me, right? But this is about new beginnings and also stability. And also this is a promise of abundance, very important. But you want also certain rules. You also want things to be done in a maybe a more conventional way rather than unconventional, because it's meaningful to you. And you're kind of like tired. You're probably saying to yourself, I'm too old, I'm too tired, I'm too exhausted to kind of try new rules. This works for me and I'll continue in this direction. So I want to see what happened in the past. What are the past circumstances that got you over here? And we have another one, like, right, we see this like wand reverse and this one reverse. It almost looks like that you have tried. Like maybe you were screaming, cat, I tried, and this didn't happen. So Two of Wands is, and look, the sun is coming right through, and you kind of like really wanted something to shine in your life. I actually like this card. To me, I don't know if you can see it here. Where is my pointer? Look at this. One of these wands, he is having sort of supported with sort of like the little big stones he found, like right there in the area. But the other one he's holding on to. So which one is stronger? And which one do you think he wants to pick? So he is picking something new, but also if you can see, it has way more leaves. It looks like something old is kind of like worn out. Well, the dude came to this falls, to the slippery slope over here, and he is still thinking, well, the world is mine. I really want to build this world. I really want to deal and build it for me. And kind of like, in which direction should I go? This is not necessarily a situation when we jump and do stuff. This is more like situation when we are still contemplating about the direction we really want to take. Especially in your case, because that came reversed. It could mean that there was some kind of overconfidence. This is also the blockage, very much like this dude over here. So both of these cards are telling me that, hey, I tried and I got blocked. And that could have been that you have tried over the period of Mercury retrograde, as it was a really difficult period. It was for me. I have to tell you, it was the worst one ever. Ever. And I don't know if you got that affected, but you kind of like felt like that no matter your touch, it's just like going nowhere. Like, as I said, and then you decide, never mind, I have to protect what I have because the flood is coming, the storm is coming. You just kind of like, that was your interpretation. That's how you kind of like went with. So let's see what is above you. So this is the energy which we get when you really start to hope. Oh my gosh, and this is very similar, isn't it? We are still having her here on the winged horse. In this particular deck, and I found that very interesting, she has this scale over here. And I'm not a reader. Like, sure, you need to know the archetype behind the card, but I also love when cards can speak for themselves. So it almost looks like here from, hey, I won, but I'm really tired, and like getting so tired that I just need to think and take care of my own self, right? Where this could mean that you're getting into that situation where it is about knowledge. You see, the Knight of Swords is about understanding something, understanding that maybe life is not just. I had this conversation with my boss, and our parents taught us the same thing, but not in the same way. For example, life is not fair. Both of our parents said it to him and said it to me, but his mother continued, you have to really fight for yourself, you have to be strong, right? Where for me was like, seize the day, carpe diem for me. And so as you can tell, that's kind of like how you can look in this particular case. Maybe this is the person who doesn't have everything, doesn't know everything, right? It's somebody who is really prepared. You are armed with some kind of knowledge, and this is something you have obtained. Or maybe you need to deal with a person who is like that. Maybe you're dealing with an air sign. You might be also dealing with, I see pretty much everything here, to be honest with you. You might be dealing with earth sign as well, very kind of like strong influence. But here it's really talking about, it could be conflicts and quarrels and verbal attacks. But this dude is also, look, I really, like when you're peeling lettuce, you're just removing all of these leaves and around that are sort of not good. So that's kind of like very similar what's happening over here. It's like, look, I need to remove all the crappy thing, and I really want to address things that actually would work, things that could work, right? You see, this knight, this is really high to king, right? So we're talking almost the very last one, right? So the maturity is, let's say, almost there. It's not exactly there, right? But it can indicate some kind of stubbornness and being brash for your own good or somebody else's good. It almost looks like that, as I said, there is like a huge miscommunication. I don't know, maybe you're dealing with an air sign. Maybe you have some fire in you, in your astrological chart, and you're mulling it over how great it would be, how nice these memories are, the memories of love, the some things that you really want to integrate in your life. But at the same time, and you're like one of those signs, usually most of the signs forget the bad things, and that's why they kind of like continue hurling in the same direction, in the same relationships. And even if this is the same person in a different body, right, you are more protective, because Cancers, they have that armor, but they are so soft inside. And if you open up and show them that softness, they can squish you. So this is why you're highly protective of it. So be careful about that. You're not shying away from arguments, but at the same time, you're not either, you're not going to be basically a doormat to anybody. In your immediate future, wow, you have the Hermit. Well, Hermit is not a bad card. I don't know, you might be dealing with Virgo, you might be dealing with Aquarius over here that I see. This is clearly talking about wisdom, right? Hermit card is talking about that you need to kind of shed the light on. Like usually in this little lantern of his is the star, and he kind of like is finding certain things that works, right? And looking for these past things, because I'm thinking that you're mulling over something from the past. You're playing different scenarios. You're in one situation getting sad, in the other situation getting angry about that, right? So this can indicate anything from crisis to wisdom, right? From poverty to contemplation. What if you're kind of asking yourself that question, right? So in this particular thing, in tarot, this belongs to gods, Hermit, same as the Hangman, same as the Fool. And the person who posed for the figure of Christ that is like depicted here, this painting, I think is called The Light of the World by William Holman Hunt, right, was actually a woman. And in tarot, interestingly enough, woman is the third card, the Empress, and only fourth card is the Emperor. Tarot is claiming that woman comes before men. And just a food for thought. Your thoughts are really interesting, right? So the woman that has been painted here in the, like basically the artist wanted to impress the androgyny of the soul and the fusion of the divine. So I really think in your case that this card is showing up with this like king, right, of the kings of the soul, and both of them are holding with the right hand. If you can notice, it's like something that was a no-go. I really think you want to approach, but it's almost like you really need to have the highest possible standard. It cannot be one of those, let me ask and see what happens. It has to be one of those, hey, can we make it work? Would I be willing to go all the way? Which kind of stops you in your tracks, because when you start thinking like that, you go, oh, wait a minute, but the other person doesn't even want it, and then I'm going to go out on the limb, I'm going to be squished. You kind of like have to figure it out, that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose in life. So it is okay to ask. You have to be prepared to kind of like fall if you fall, but you know, if your heart is clean, as it is over here, almost like godlike kind of like figure, like you have really nothing to lose, because at the very least it's going to be kind of paid forward. So this is something to understand. Let me see what you are hiding over here. Ooh, look at her. That is the Queen of Wands over here. So we have the Knight of Swords and you have a Queen of Wands. I do think that you guys are sort of like getting out there. Queen of Wands to me is like saying, I'm ready. I can date. I can start to show off. Look at this sunflower. She's almost holding this like a mirror. And I like the throne with lion heads over here, right? So this to me tells me that at some point in this month, maybe you're going to speak truth to yourself. Maybe somebody else is going to speak truth to you, which is going to kind of like shake you up. It's going to tell you, wow, I'm still young. I still have so much of life in me. Look at the beautiful day outside. Look at this beautiful dog, beautiful cat, beautiful child. Look at this beautiful food that I have. And you're going to all of a sudden start feeling that joy and courage of actually living your own life. And it's going to be something throughout that you're going to feel high self-esteem and determination and very dynamic. To me, this is the ultimate card of starting to date again. Ultimate card of, hey, you know, I'm still here, which would really mean that you will really need to spend this coin. So you can see that shift will be needed. But look, if you hold on to it, think of this as a seed. If you hold this seed, the seed is not going to bubble up. So he is taking this seed and he knows it's going to grow. So this is what you need to understand, that you're on that trajectory of something that is going to grow and going to take you forward, right? Now, one of the best parts, your environment. The Devil. I think this is the first time I got Devil in all 12 signs, and you're the last one I read. This one is in particular very interesting thing, because I don't know if this is a man, but this one here, it could be, but it also could be a woman. It really doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's really talking about submission. Ultimately, it's talking about maybe you're having a partner or somebody in your environment who is a little bit codependent, or a person is dealing with their own things, with booze, with drugs, and even though you love them, there is like not something that you can tolerate, right? So it can talk about somebody who is reckless, right? But keep in mind that people who are reckless are also most of the time genius. They kind of like go hand in hand, right? This is going to be passion. It's going to be temptation. It's going to be lots of sex. And interestingly enough, you're going to feel very decadent. You're going to go from this kind of like level to this level. Look, he's holding on to everything and he's like, what the heck, you know? So you're going to go from one extreme to another. That also kind of like worries me a little bit, because you know, moderation is the key over here, especially for those of you who, you know, you felt you know, you're like a dog on the leash. He's trying to go somewhere and he's pulling on this leash, but he cannot go because you're holding on to him. And that's how you felt. You felt like, oh my gosh, I cannot go anywhere. I feel blocked. I know it's just there, but you just cannot reach it. It just like slips out of your fingers. And all of a sudden somebody opens the gate and you just like want to do everything. You need to pace yourself, because it is there to stay. It is there for long term. Like, this is not something that you have to necessarily freak out about it, but it could have a little bit of that codependency. This is, after all, ruled with Saturn. It could also be Capricorn in your life. As I said, kind of like be clear with everybody and ask them to be clear with you in kind of like what is it they want, right? Maybe, you know, you can ask yourself what is really holding you back of enjoying that life. Maybe you don't want fly-by-night relationship. Maybe there's like just something that is maybe offered to you to be just temporarily, right? But I'll be honest with you, you also have the same kind of like a flavor. It's almost like going from, okay, it has been too long and it is time. I need to kind of embrace. I need to feel alive. I need to be around other people, and I need to be who I am. You are Cancer. By nature, you're kind of the gentle, beautiful sign that people really like respond to. But people also don't know how to react when you disappear. Just like I didn't know how to react when all of a sudden I see no Cancers on my channel. So keep that in mind when it comes to kind of like the communication that has to happen. So your hopes and your fears. And we have this dude Emperor, and he is reversed. And this card actually is being read in both directions, because after all it is hopes and after all it is fears, right? So the Emperor is corresponding to Aries and has this like ultimate masculine energy. Remember, this is the sign number 1, but you see it's only starting at the level 4 over here in tarot. So it is like somebody who is able to calm chaos, right? So I really think some of you are looking for the freaking perfect partner, right? And some of you molded the partner after your own father. And I feel that some of you maybe had a very authoritarian father, somebody who really didn't give you lots of room to express who you are, somebody who was a good protector and provider, but was like almost like ruthless if you kind of like disagree with him. And maybe there are echoes of that you're feeling. Like, this is kind of like your fear. I do not want to end up in a relationship, which really tells me that maybe you have been coming from a situation where you felt powerlessness, right? Or that it was chaos, that you kind of like didn't feel that you stand on your feet in some solid way, right? It kind of like felt, oh my goodness, everything is going to fall apart, right? But at the same time, you know, this is telling you, and this is really important message to your Cancers, because you are all about emotions. But look at here, you have Earth, Earth, and Earth, right? You have, and this is Earth, 1, 2, 3, 4 for now. Then we have 3 fire, we have 1 air, and 4 fire, pardon me, 4 fire, we have 1 air and 1 cups. As you can see, this whole month is asking you not to be emotional, to kind of like withdraw yourself, to speak your own truth, to kind of like review and analyze your own truth, right? So here is really telling you that, you know, you need to kind of like dominate your emotions. And then you're going to have, because look at this, 2 of these dudes are on the opposite side. He's looking and kind of like, what kind of world will I bring? And he is also holding something. Like, there is like this motive that is like on the same tangent repeating. They are holding onto a stick. Well, sure, it can be very, you know, phallic at the same time. But this dude here is also holding to his stick and also to his bull, right? So are you going to take your bull and go home, guys? Or are you going to kind of like grasp this world and say the world is mine, right? And exercise the stability and authority, because this is also basically fitting with this force over here. I also want to note something else, guys. I guess goes both ways this way. You have 3 sixes, 6, 6, and 6, 15, 1, and 5 is 6, which is really telling me that you'll meet somebody this month, or somebody from the past is going to somehow come through. It's going to be very difficult to have the conversation, or maybe conversation is not going to go anywhere, but this is not to say that you're not going to think about that. There's like still something karmic that has to be dealt with. There's like still something karmic. We'll clarify that you feel there's like something that is not finished. You're just not ready to close that book, not for now. So this leads us to, wow, details. This is the upgrade of this card, right? So this is like almost like a main floor, and well, the grounding energy, that's why they're called general energies, and this is kind of like where you are heading. So you are upgrading Cancer 1.0 to Cancer 2.0. This is also the card of fine details. I don't know, very often I connect this card to Virgos and the kind of like very practicality that is needed in order to kind of like push things forward and make things work, right? In kind of like, it's really talking about new projects and excellent prospects. So all of a sudden there's like this new swerve of energy that is coming your way. With that energy, there's like this time, okay, now I'm able to kind of like push this forward. People are responsive to me. I am being listened. I am being dealt with at work. But at the same time, you are now coming back to kind of like add a little bit beautiful touch. So this is also about creativity and concentration and focus and craftsmanship. Did we not have, no, this was like this one. I thought it was like 3 of Pentacles. So this card, just really want to see which one was the first major arcana over here. Look at that. So the first one was the Sun. Wow. You guys, look at how many walls you have built. Look at what you did. You need to cut through it. You need to cut through it. This is saying to you, look, each and every time you feel like you're holding on something, ask yourself why you're holding on to that and kind of push it through. You need to be able to cut all these cords of the past, everything that is keeping you in that holding space, because you can actually really do better. And there's like something karmic. That's the only thing I really kind of like, I'm a little bit concerned, but you are not going to be concerned. It's more that I am, because when things are karmic, they generally need to be clear. The soul contract has to end, right? It's almost like somebody is coming through one more time and then says goodbye, kind of a thing, or you let them go. But it's going to be bittersweet. It's going to have that sadness in it, but it's also going to have a huge sense of accomplishment. And all of a sudden the cup is going to be clean and refreshed, and you'll be able to put new people and new things, because you're going to feel really energized. You're actually going to even feel that you'll be going out inviting other people, whether or not you're a man or a woman. So this one fell out, and it's not that on the card that wanted to go. So this dude was reversed over here. So something has been dead and finished that is still going to be bubbling up to the surface. And it's like something that maybe you felt, oh my goodness, you know, what do I transform this into? You got stuck. You came from a situation that was stuck. I can clearly see that over here. But I really wanted to see a few clarifications over here. So let's see this dude. I want to see the Devil, and I want to see the Emperor. Okay, so this dude here, we have a house and a widower. So I don't know, somebody else, I think Libra or Gemini had something very similar to that, interestingly enough. See, this house is not your typical, oh, let me go and buy the little housey like this. It almost looks like it's one of those houses where families live. And now, like, you're having a death here, and then you have a widower here. And again, it is just reinforcing that holding pattern. You just closed yourself in. You closed yourself to the world. You need to grasp enough energy to push yourself forward, to push yourself through. It is very important to acknowledge. If you're mourning, if there's like somebody who you left in the past or who left you in the past, acknowledge it. Maybe that somebody is still holding you captive, but this time you're the captor, because you are holding the situation in your own head. By releasing it, you're able to let go. I actually like the Widower card, because this kind of tells me, hey, finally this dude is able to pull himself together. He is able to get out of the house without breaking down, right? And he's able to acknowledge, hey, love was there. This is beautiful. It's better to like live and love and live. What is it saying? Than never love again, kind of a thing, right? So yeah, it sometimes we need to accept certain situations are over. Sometimes we need to deal with regrets, right? This is clearly talking about ruptured relationships, but it could be that you had a partner who was reckless, and that's why you kind of like went into the situation. Oh, I need to kind of like really hold myself from any kind of crap that could generate in the future. And let me see this sexy thing, sadness and misfortune. Oh my goodness, I know what this is. I was just really staring at it and saying, how is this connecting? How is this making sense? Because generally this card is not much about the sadness. If nothing else, is about overindulgence, right? But I really think this is how somebody can suck you in, right? They are going to be one of those people with these like big eyes that you're going to drown yourself in it, right? So be very careful. This is warning you, just like I was like afraid for everything that can kind of happen out of it, because this misfortune card is not a good one over here. You are having on every single card some kind of like warning over here. And sure, the Devil card itself is a warning in its own, right? So misfortune, like, to be very clear, it can talk about fall from grace. So be very careful that, for example, this card can talk about exes. Clearly, maybe your exes are coming back. This card can talk about third-party relationship. Maybe you are stepping into somebody else's relationship, whether you know or don't know, but you find out later, still the same thing. It can be sudden and unexpected negative event kind of a thing, right? It could be really a serious problem, right? But it kind of like talk about that it could be something that can result in consequences, right? So be very, very careful about that, because you might be dealing with somebody who is going through, let's say, legal separation or divorce, or somebody who has lost something. And somebody like that is maybe just like, oh, I just want good things. I just want sex. That's all I want. And yet you're coming from a situation where you've been through something, like that could be you as well, but this is falling in the environment, that you have been through something where you need something solid. You don't want to like deal with somebody who you'll feel like you're standing on a banana peel, right? So you need to acknowledge that with some people, not every person that come our way is going to be the right one. With some of them, and that's why this can represent this karma. You just need to say, hey, thanks for stopping by in this life. And that's how you will know, because attraction is going to be hard to deny, right? It's going to be very sexy. But sometimes it's just going to take to be kind of let go, right? And let's see this hopes and fears. And you're going to hope and desire. And I love it, because I don't know if you guys have a long-term relationship with somebody who is like long distance. Some of you might have it, because I guess you really want something solid. You really want something to speak up and tell you how things are going to work out, right? You're kind of like tired of, let's say, false promises. it is really time to start moving forward. This hope card is like the star card in tarot, and I really love this like big anchor. She's saying, come home, come home. So it's kind of like you want some solidity. Some of you are dating, and some of you have been in a situation when you're alone in spite of being like in a couplehood, right? Others decided not to date at all. So now it's talking to both situations, and some of them are into multiple partner relationship, whether it's you who have them on the side or them. So situations can get complicated at times, something like that. So keep in mind that this hope and willingness to work on the details, to iron out like details, are really unbelievable good card to get, because it says, hey, things actually can work out. You just need to be positive. You need to look in direction, except when you're dealing with somebody who is, let's say, freshly out of marriage, freshly separated, because honestly you never know where a person like this will swing. But I do need to tell you that this person is going to be smitten by you, and you will feel, okay, I'm currently hungry, let's call it about that way, for sex and affection, and you're going to enjoy it and bask in it, right? So nothing wrong about the Cancer. So you need to know, however, that this might not last. You did obtain this wisdom. You did realize, well, it is a time to start. It is time to kind of like open the door and see. And maybe what you open you're not going to like very much, but I am telling you, this person here is only there to come and say hello and teach you something, and then you're moving on into something much, much better, because you need to cut. See, this is why this misfortune, it's this soul contract needs to be cut. Could be also there's like somebody who is simply going to be a one night stand, that it was so romantic, so beautiful, so sexy, but all of a sudden, just as quickly as person walk into your life, they're out. So it's going to be lots of combination, guys, but keep an eye on that karmic soulmate that is coming in your life, and you'll be ready, because this is the month where you are learning something about you, and what you're going to learn is going to be beautiful. You're going to say, I'm alive again, I am willing to love again, and I'm open to love. And that to me is very powerful, my dear Cancer. So don't forget to click, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to check your ascendant and your moon sign. In the description there is a link if you don't know how to look for it. And if you guys want your own reading, because I can see this confusion happening over here, check my website cattarot.ca. So until next time, guys, I love you, wish you all the best, and don't be the last sign the next time, okay? Take care.